This episode, Alaska wrap up. Well, Larry is back in the lower 48. He's glad to be in the studio, by the way.
Yay, Larry, you're
Yay.
back.
So
Good
it's time
God, man. How long have you been gone? You've been gone 6 months.
Well, it was 110 days in Alaska plus. Anyway, be that as it may, it's about time to wrap up Alaska.
Folks, you guys wish that you had Larry's life. Guy is everywhere in the world, for God's sakes.
All right. Thanks for listening to another edition of the Handyman Pros Radio Show, where our goal is to help save you time, money, and aggravation in your home maintenance and repair. This edition is entitled Alaska Wrap Up. Johnny and I have already been chuckling about this one. Yes, I've been off and away. Part of the rest of it was 110 days in Alaska plus 16 or 17 days in French Polynesia, which is Tahiti, Bora Bora, et cetera, et cetera.
Good God, man.
So yeah, and then I actually ended up in Warner Robins.
Folks, don't send any money towards Larry, will you, please?
Nobody sends us money.
He's got plenty.
That. We do this show because it's out of the love of our hearts. It's the only reason. It's true. It's true. It's the only reason.
He's got plenty.
So yeah, so we thought we'd talk about we're just going to wrap up my experiences at the Glacier Bay Bear Track Inn. We had talked about the sauna build, and so I want to do a big shout out to my buddy Ryan Phelps. Ryan, about halfway through the season is what we call the time that you spend when you work seasonal work, as they say. About halfway through the season, I realized I was going to not be able to get this flipping sauna done without some help. So I called up my buddy, the Central Georgia handyman, Ryan Phelps, who's been on this show. I forget the episode, but anyway, it's quite a while ago. And he actually was in the midst of moving out to San Antonio, Texas. And so he's like, yeah, I got nothing going on. I'd love to come to Alaska. And I was like, yeah, come on, let's do this. Right.
And I guess, Ryan, I mean, when you say you got nothing going on and you're just going to jump on a plane and go to Alaska, I guess you mean you got nothing going on.
Well, he had just literally had moved 2 days before, literally. He had just moved to San Antonio.
I mean, how many people out there can you say, okay, I think I'll just jump on a plane and spend the rest of my summer in Alaska. I
said, it's a huge shout out to my buddy Ryan.
Yeah, that's
honest to God. The timing worked out great. And I was just like, it's part of the reason I called him, because I knew the time. I was going to call you, Johnny. I'm like, Johnny's not coming up here.
Yeah, I got a few things going on. I can't just yeah, hey honey, yeah, what do you need? I'm just gonna pack my little gym bag full of stuff. I'm going to Alaska for 3 months and all.
For 4 weeks. Yeah, I'm gonna go for 4 or 5 weeks. Ryan was there he showed up I want to say end of July basically, and stayed through we left on August 28th or 29th. I don't remember the exact dates, but it really doesn't matter. But he was there for a little more than a month. And thank you, brother. Because I was kind of at the stage, there were things that needed to be done. And you'll see the pics of where we needed 2 guys and we needed to get on this project. Cause we only had, I actually had a countdown timer running on the job. And I was like, I'm running out of time. There's more.
I mean, you're faced with a lot, we've discussed this, I will say that if I would,
the next thing, and
by the way, if I was on the Lamb, I would, I'd join you up in Alaska.
If you were on the Lamb, Alaska,
yeah, if I was on the Lamb, I'd be like, yeah. If
you can get lost in Alaska and nobody will know where you are. And I don't even, I'm not even joking.
Right.
I could be 2 miles from the Bear Track Inn and you would never, ever find me ever.
Yeah.
You could not find me. Even with infrared, I can hide myself.
Yeah, the bears will get you too.
That's a bigger issue. But anyway.
So anyways, it's good that Ryan got up there because, look, I mean, I knew you guys were going to have, you had all this inherent blockage that was going on to stop this project from going smoothly all the time, like the weather, the logistics of everything up there. It's not that easy, folks. It's not like, hey, I'm going to run down, 5 miles or 3 miles or 2 miles to the Home Depot or Lowe's and buy a couple more pieces of lumber. That just wasn't going to happen. Plus it was raining all the time. So you got all that going on. So a lot of things you were dealing with that we don't deal with. Well, now there might be people that are listening to us in Alaska.
Right. Yeah. That do.
But at least here in down south or even in Chicago, it doesn't matter. It's, you can get stuff done.
You can get stuff done. Yeah, it's honestly, it was a great experience, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I had a fantastic time. The Glacier Bay Bear Track Inn is a great place. If you're going to Glacier Bay National Park and you're going to go in not on a cruise, but you're going to go in and you want to go in, it's the place to stay in lovely Gustavus. Gustavus is a fantastic little town. It's tons of fun. I'm unsure at this point if I'm going back. Mostly it's a long story, but I'm thinking that I might want to do a little more fishing a little farther north, and so it's undecided at this point. But anyway, I do want to go back to
Like
Alaska.
where little Diomedes,
What's that?
little Diomedes up there,
Yeah,
right off the Russian coast or whatever.
Yeah, well, there's all.
So
It's
Larry's going to keep going. Maybe the North Pole.
not quite that far
Him
north,
and
but
Bert.
up past Katmai or something like that. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure,
there
but
you go.
I'm still open. I'm open to all ideas at this point. I'm not even sure. Actually, my wife was not thrilled I was gone for 101 days in Alaska, and so there's that issue as well. So it's a confused confused world.
Maybe at least K2 if we're on Everest or
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No thanks.
yeah.
No thanks. But anyway, if you have interest in doing seasonal work, send me an email question radio show, and we'll give you the kind of the things to think about and look out, and some resources as to where you can go get some of that seasonal work. There's actually a tremendous number of opportunities to work in lodges all over Alaska, for doing handyman work or really any kind of work you want. All this seasonal work.
That's a good point, and I think we've talked about this before, and we'll get on with the pictures here in a second. But I've also experienced that down in the Keys, down in
Yes.
Florida Keys. So it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. There's
Yeah.
great parallels between the Keys and between Alaska. And I just say that in that it seems like there's
It
just-
kind of ends at the weather, but other than that,
yeah, hey, I have to say the weather was actually, compared to what y'all had here in Atlanta this summer, I'm glad that the warmest day we had was like
Oh.
72 or 73,
it was brutal, man.
Brutal,
There was
yeah.
some brutal days.
So
I mean-
we had towards the end of the season in August, it actually did clear up quite a bit. We didn't get the rain that we anticipate. Supposedly August is the rainy season. It was not this year. It was actually relatively dry. We had some really nice days. And so it was really quite pleasant to work in the last segment of the month. The last time we did this show was right at the end of July, where we talked about the sauna update and stuff like that. And we're going to get into that here in a minute, but the end of August was actually beautiful. And it started to get a little cooler. I did notice that the days were actually getting shorter. We were down to like 15 hours of daylight, in a day versus nearly 20 when I
and
got
that's
there.
going to flip.
Yeah, and then I don't know that I'd want to be up there in the wintertime when it's
No, I've had a good friend that was up in Fairbanks.
Yeah.
For a couple of years.
That would, yeah, no, I don't know that I dig that, but I've got to tell you, it really is it's a really interesting place, and the whole thing of, gosh, when we talk about Alaska, I talk about big, and I was going to put some pictures up of pictures of glaciers and stuff and ice chunks and stuff that maybe we can get to them, maybe we can't. But folks, when we talk, you don't know what big is until you go to Alaska.
Yeah.
There's nothing,
and
that's small.
it's really tough. It's really tough to I guess to get
Pictures
that.
don't do it justice. They don't.
Exactly to
You
feel
can't.
that in
Ryan
a picture.
Ryan was all. I mean, he had more pictures of mountains and this and that. And he looks at the pictures. He goes, "Man, it just doesn't look anything like what it
No.
looks like." I'm like,
No.
I get it, buddy.
No,
I get it.
there's that. Yeah, it's so big. There's no perspective.
Yeah, there's no perspective. There's no perspective. Everything from down to these skunk cabbages that were 5.5 feet tall. It's like Jurassic Park. They're just
Yeah.
this. It looks like, I don't know. It's just these great big leaves. They're huge, but they're 5 feet tall. You look at them, you go, "What the hell is
Yeah,
that?" It's
right.
called skunk cabbage. It is what it is, right? Anyway, really interesting. So loved it. Folks, I would tell you,
Well,
if you have
welcome back. And
Yeah.
Larry's getting back into the swing of things. We are back, folks. We revisited a few of our contractor shows in the past.
Yeah, we
here
had to.
recently.
We couldn't.
We've
we couldn't
just
get
been
recording time. So
We've either been busy and out of town.
and out of town, it's a combination of both.
So
Yep, combination of both. So anyway,
Larry's still coming back, and he's getting adjusted to the time zone here.
I'm still having a little time. I got to admit. So it's
Yeah.
5 hours difference from where we were. And then we came back to Atlanta for 60 days or for 60 hours, excuse me, for 60 hours, and then went 2 hours the other way to French Polynesia. A little confused. And then I came back here. Now I'm here back here. And I'm like, what day is
Yeah.
it? What time is it? I don't even know. So anyway,
All
let's
right.
do, we got pictures, Johnny?
We got pictures.
Yeah, so these pictures are a little bit out of order. The first two pictures are kind of screwy. This is a picture of the inside of the sauna. We actually built this sauna, and you'll understand this picture a little later. But the big things I want to point out here is that this is a fully insulated box, and then we put this aluminum foil over the whole insides of this thing. That's what you see there in the picture. Go to the next picture, John. And then this is just a picture of an actually parts of the finished interior. Flip to the next picture. So this is where Ryan came into the picture, is right here. And this is the framing was effectively done. This is the whole framing for the whole building. We had the roof on at this point, so it was more or less weather tight. It wasn't completely weather tight, but it was weather tight enough. Go to the next picture. And we just took a couple of pictures just to kind of show it. Click to the next picture. We put in some temporary stairs because we had no way to get up into this thing at that point. Next picture. And I just wanted to show that, again, this is all framing. This is basically Ryan came in and we finished up the framing the first day that he was there, which we hung this window and we did the next picture, which
I
is
think let me pause you there 1 second, because I think it's interesting. You can see that what's that, rough sawn wood?
It is rough sawn lumber.
Yeah.
Yep. It came from, and I mentioned this in the other shows.
You can see that in the header right there.
Yep.
All of it.
All of it is rough cut lumber. It comes from Icy Straits lumber in Hoona, Alaska, and very interesting stuff to use. And it's all true dimension, which actually caused a couple of little issues.
Oh yeah.
Not gonna lie, because we lost a foot in the true dimensions. The sauna was a kit, but we lost a foot, so we ended up with some extra materials. And fortunately, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, as far as the refit. So click to the next picture. And again, I'm just showing the framing for the ceiling. Click to the next picture. And this is actually before. Now, in this picture, here's the notable things. Ryan and I got in one of the very first things we did was we put all the siding up. And this siding it's a lap siding. I didn't get good pictures of it. I think I did in the first pictures, but it's a lap siding. It is it's basically 2x6s. Now it's a shape.
I see that.
Siding, but it's 2x6s, and then it laps over, and that's the siding that we put up. And it was kind of crazy. Like, it was literally 2x6. It was all rough cuts, sawn lumber. And it's the unstained stuff that you see to the right, and then the back. This is we actually, again, these pictures are out of order. This is a roofing material that we put down on the floor, because this is kind of semi outside.
Mm-hmm.
Underneath that, go to the next picture. Underneath that, we actually had put RedGuard down. So we painted this with RedGuard because we wanted it to be watertight, because it's a rainforest of where this place is located. So anyway, so this is siding with the RedGuard. Go to the next picture. Yeah, again, this is all kind of just more of this pictures of where we were in the build process. We were actually putting up doors and stuff here. This is the flooring is actually down. We put LVP in there. There are windows that go in here, so you'll see that's really right at the very end. But you can see the lighting up at the top. We had to run electric through this, and we ran the little hanging dangling lights. That's what the owner wanted. So we did all that. So click to the next picture. This is the inside, and this is, again, we put in that silver lining under all this. This is all tongue and groove. It's this like 3/8 inch cedar type stuff on the walls. Click to the next one.
And that was all part of the kit, right?
Part of the kit. Yep, part of the kit. And so we had to do some little bit of modifications, but click to the next one. We had to do a few modifications, but this is just it. We basically made a big, go to the next one. We just made basically a big box, an insulated box. And this picture, you can see the siding up and with the aluminum foil by where the door is. And click to the next one.
Yeah, and I see the electrical box in the back there.
And the electrical box is in the back because it needed to be outside, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So This is just a picture of us putting the benches in. Now the benches took actually quite a bit of modification because again, they were a foot long for every single bench. Or well, some of them were. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We had to modify every one of the bench. So click to the next
Now,
picture.
those benches were part of the kit?
They were part of the kit. Yep. This is all white cedar that's on the inside of this. So it's
How
very
did they
nice.
deliver? How did they deliver it? This thing must have been massive, though. I mean, from a box. What did it come in?
Came on 2 pallets. And it was all kind of encased in like a big, wooden shipping box, for lack of a better word. They built the shipping box. It was OSB, built on a 2x4 frame is how they shipped.
Where did this thing come from again? Oh, this
Norway.
is from where?
From Norway.
Norway, that's right.
Yeah, and I think it shipped out of a company in the Midwest, but anyway, the manufacturer is in Norway, and they shipped it up to Alaska. And the cost of shipping is, I don't want to tell you because it's if you saw how much it costs to ship all this stuff.
So, yeah, I'm sure
it was almost as much as the kit.
Yeah,
so
I bet.
Again, we've talked ad nauseum about logistics in Alaska, but it's really a mess. But again, here's more pictures of the
benches. There's the big siding.
Yeah, and you can see the siding here that runs up. We ran the siding on the inside and the outside to give it continuity. But yeah, those are 1.5 inches thick. They literally are 1.5 inches thick, and it's a 2x6 type size. So fantastic stuff. I mean, gosh, the bill was the lumber bill for all of it was a little over $15,000, which really isn't too bad by the time you consider that drywall was $40 a sheet in Juneau at the Home Depot.
Wow.
And I was like, yeah, I think I'd rather use this wooden siding because it was also obviously very structural as well.
Yeah.
So, it's really good stuff. So click to the next one. See where we're at. Yeah, again, more pictures of the benches. Keep going. In the window again, click. Took a lot of pictures inside, click. And their skirting is not up here. This is the control unit for the heating element of the sauna part itself. So it was a 220 volt system. This is 65 amps. It's 220 at 65 amps, which is a lot. And so we had to run some really heavy gauge wire down. It runs basically straight down into that wall and then comes out, and you'll see the heater in one of the finished pictures. But a pretty major electrical service had to be brought. We brought 125 amps into the building because we needed it. So
where are they getting that kind of power up there? Is you have to drop a whole another line out there?
They dropped a whole new service out for this. And it wasn't it's not amazingly, that was one thing that wasn't as costly as it was in the lower 48. They were very, very reasonable on what it cost to drop the new service. I was really surprised. And they were fast. Well, of course there's only 150 homes in Gustavus, so that then they have a full-time crew that works for the power company, and most of the time they're great guys. I had such a good time with the actual power company guys because I got to tell a story. So I'm sitting there doing the framing. They came out and they looked at it when we're first putting the floor up, and I think I described this before, but they come out the next time because they basically had not a whole lot to do one day. So they're just like, oh, we'll go out and take a look at this project. They get out there. He looks at what I'm doing. He's like, holy cow, you're going to be done with this season. And I was like, yeah. He's like, we got projects around here that have been going on for years. He's like, we weren't expecting this.
I bet you do, buddy.
So anyway, so it was kind of funny because they were good guys. There's the 3 guys. Marty was the lead, and then there was 2 other guys, and I'd see them around town. So I'd always say hello, because I knew who they were. And super good guys, super, super good guys. Very, very cool. And really enjoyed, working with them because they knew what they were doing. They really did. They were great. But anyway, so they brought in this power. So click on the next one. And this is actually a picture of the heater. So that inside those stones that you see there with that wooden rim, there is there's 4 electrical units that heat up all those stones, and they are big and strong. Click to the next one because I think it's a little better picture of the finished interior. Yeah. So you can see. Yeah. So we had to build that that's a tile base there because of the heat. It needed to be, stone. And you can see where the electric comes out of the wall there, and you can see the size of that cable. I think it was 8 gauge we used. It was getting that cable alone, Johnny. We had to fly it in because we were up against a time constraint. You know, we were running out of time, and just
Wow.
yikes. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
it was
mean that's you know, just thinking about just you just can't you like I said, you just can't go down to Home Depot and pick that up in the afternoon
yeah, and
and
come
go
back.
back to work.
Right. It was not. It was nowhere near that way. And we what happened was is we didn't we basically didn't measure long enough. So we needed another, I think it was 50 feet. And we're like, oh, and it was a project stopper, you know, because
Oh,
it had to
sure.
happen before the walls all went up and all that
Right.
kind of, you know.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, you know, and I'm like,
Were
oh,
you getting this stuff from a big box store, or were you getting it from a material, contractor supply?
the short answer is both.
Yeah.
That particular 50-foot run came from Home Depot in Juneau.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we had a person over there. They went and bought it, and they brought it over to it's called Alaska Seaplanes, and they fly regular service back and forth, and they'll fly freight for you. And they flew it in for us the next day. We were
Wow.
really, really lucky. And I'm
Yeah,
going to
that's
tell you, we were
fortunate.
lucky. We were lucky for two reasons. One, we had a guy, an agent. I call him an agent. It's a guy that we know in Juneau that lives there, that would do this stuff for us. But the second thing, and this is the more important thing, Home Depot actually had it in stock. We got the last roll. That was it. And they weren't going to see 8 gauge wire again for who knows how long,
Wow.
right? Because Juneau, everything gets shipped into Juneau
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, sure.
Everything comes in on a boat. And it was something. I was sweating bullets, man, because I was like, man, you know, I wanted this project done. And this is in this picture that you see here, this is done. It's finished. We
Yeah.
actually fired it up and it worked. Click to the next picture because I think these are the outside pictures. Oh yeah, we put a deck out on the outside, and what you see up there is in the front there, there's an outside shower that we set. It's a cold water shower for cold water rinses. But we decided to make the grate, we just put slats in the decking for the grate because the water it's just a rinse, right? It
Yeah.
literally is not gray water. It didn't need to go into a septic system or anything like that. It just falls out on the ground. Plus, one of the things you can kind of see it here, I've talked about it before, but this is all sand all around this whole thing, and it's sand down for about 4 feet. So for the amount of times that somebody's going to, there's no soap or anything that they're using. It's literally a rinse. So we're
Oh
just
yeah, it
like,
just goes right in there.
goes
It
right into the sand.
disappears.
It's gone. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's gone. Like you don't get standing water in this
Yeah.
place. Trust me. You do in the rivers, but it's a long story, but you don't, underneath where this thing is, there's no standing water. Click to the next picture.
Yeah, until the bears get underneath there.
Well, so we actually had that discussion. You know, they're like, "Well, it's kinda high. There's gonna get a bear under here. We need to skirt it around it." I'm like, "N." I said, and I still believe this, we'll find out come next season, but I still believe no bear in his right mind is gonna hibernate underneath this thing because the wind blows underneath it. So, a bear's not gonna stay under there because it's not enough cover, if that makes sense. I was like, "If you skirt," and I said this to the owners, I said, "If you skirt it, now you make it a nice place to go hibernate."
Yeah.
Right? You know, you enclose it. Now it
Dude.
actually is a great place for them to go
Yeah.
cuddle up and
Raccoons.
get warm. Well, there's no raccoons there, so you don't have to worry
No,
about that.
don't have to worry about that.
Yep. The only what's the only mid-size? We did see some. We saw some mink actually. They were mink or
Oh
ermine,
yeah.
but they were actually on the path that you see up there on the right hand side of that picture. They were running across there one day, and I pointed them out to Ryan. He's like, "Oh, that's so cool." I said, "It's so cool and so
Yeah.
rare to see." So it actually was really cool. Anyway,
Hey, you want a
click
new
to
coat?
yeah, right. Need a few more than 3. Click to the next picture. So this is essentially a finished product right here, what you see. You can see the windows in. The windows that we put in were these they're like a decking product, and they're actually plastic. So the frames are aluminum, but the windows themselves are vinyl. It's clear vinyl. And you can slide them up and down, and you can open them up to screens, so they're screened on the inside. So that front area of the sauna that you see there that's screened in is really just screens because we have them open at this time. So it gives you you can either be inside or outside. You can close them up. It's not going to be warm in there because it's not heated, but it's going to be nice. And if you want it to be open air, it's open air. To the left, where you see the wheelbarrow, down there where you see that green thing, the stream is right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you this because it was fascinating. As we were sitting, working up on the deck up in there, working on the various things, the salmon had started running up that
Mm.
stream, and we could see them in the water sitting inside that building. And I
Mm.
couldn't get any good pictures because you couldn't really see them. Like the camera
Yeah, the
wasn't picking.
camera, yeah. But
You couldn't pick them
yeah,
up with.
that's cool.
But it was very, very cool to be sitting there in there watching the salmon spawn in
S-
that little. It's a little tiny stream, but they're in there, and there
So
were
how far? Remind me, how far away is this sauna from the lodge?
from the lodge. It's about 100 yards, maybe not even that far. From the ocean, from the icy straits, it's about a mile, maybe a mile and a half, probably a
So
mile.
you gotta walk out. It's about he's 100 yards from the lodge. Huh.
Yeah, it's not very far. It's not very far. It sits right 100 yards. Yeah, maybe 50 yards. It's not very far back. You can see it. I mean, you can see it,
Yeah.
but you have to be looking at it.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
yeah, the only things that are different that this doesn't show is we did put a railing up on the stairs there
Mm-hmm.
to the right hand side, so that's a full regular railing like you'd have on a deck. You can see the very if you scroll. Well, I don't know if you can scroll in anyway. The shower is mounted there.
Yeah.
The outside shower, it's right there. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's right there. Johnny's got his cursor on it right now, and we did close that in. This was really close to the end, really, really close. I actually think this particular day we were building the railing to go down it, and for whatever reason, I didn't get a truly finished picture. But you can see also we did lighting up on the top there.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of exterior lights with the same hanging lights. Those were all on switches. It ended up being a beautiful. It ended up being beautiful. Quite honestly, it's a beautiful. I was very, I don't want to say impressed, but came out almost virtually identical to what the owner wanted. I mean,
Oh, that's good.
I should have put
That's
up
good.
the other picture, and then you'd
So
see how.
let me ask you this. In any big project, at least in my experience, is that when you get down to the little last pieces, like putting in the railing stuff, how'd you feel? You like, man, we're done. We're out of here.
So I have to put the time perspective on this. The railing went on 3 days before we were headed on an airplane to leave. And brother, you're not kidding. And I had been on this project for 100, or let's see, for 90, let's just say 95 days. Honestly, like any project that's that long for me,
Yeah.
it's not this particular project, but all when I was doing home rehabs, even for
Yeah.
myself, I was like, I'm so ready to get off this project.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to be done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, oh yeah, we were right there. Both Ryan and I both were like, we're ready. Let's get this thing, let's put a bow on this. Let's get it done, And so, yeah,
Yeah, and it's always one of those things too at the end where you kind of look around. I mean, it looks great and everything, but there's always something you're like, man, I wish we would have done this, or we could have done that, or we could keep going. It's like I gotta stop. I gotta stop. And,
we weren't really at that point with this one. We pretty much had everything the way we wanted it. I'm not going to lie. It's not, oh, how special are we? It's just, there just wasn't much more. The only thing that we might, if we'd had a little more time, that we might have done, and it's a very might, would maybe be extend that deck out and bring it out. She originally wanted it wrapped around the whole structure, just the side that you see here and down the edge. And she wanted it wrapped around. And the reason that we didn't do that
do you
was
even have material.
That was the reason it wasn't done. That was the reason we could not get material fast enough to get it done. I'm like, we can't do it right now. We've got it set, the way it's set up there now is if in the future, if they want to bring us back, I mean, we can extend that deck like easy peasy, provided we have the material. And that's the key. We just did not have the material. And that was again, I've talked about the logistics there. That was a logistical nightmare to try to get that. It wasn't, again, you don't run down and say, hey, I need,
right.
I need the stuff. It's just not that simple. And so, so we ended up stopping where we stopped. And I don't know that they'll change it or not, because the one thing that, so here's kind of the rest of the story. You see how forested it is all around it.
Yeah.
The mosquitoes in there are really thick. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. What they're gonna do with the surrounding.
It's really going to stay the same. So they're
Wow.
not really wanting to change. To the right, where you see that, their future plans talk about putting some cabins in there, but that it's going to be kind of farther set back. Like if you're looking at this, it's going to be to the right quite a
Yeah.
ways actually. And so they might do some more, but I can tell you that the difference between the mosquitoes at this location and the lodge, which again is maybe 50 yards away,
Yeah.
is now the lodge sits out in the open.
Yeah.
So
I remember that from the pictures. Yeah.
yep, it's out in the open. And boy, you walk back here into these woods,
They're
it's like
waiting for you, man.
they are
They're
waiting.
they're ready to pounce.
Now, I will say this, in August, the mosquitoes did pretty much go away, but for most of the season, you're gonna wanna be inside that screened in area, because they'll lift you up and carry you
Yeah.
away. I had to wear a head net for a while because I was breathing them in while I was working. I know, I think I talked about that in some of
Yeah.
the other
Yeah.
shows, but
It's
it they were pretty bad, and they're big mosquitoes. They're not
yeah.
like the ones here. They're these great big mosquitoes. They're anyway, they're big, and they're
Yeah.
my God, are they thick, So,
Well,
and fortunately, it's kind of an interesting thing. So fortunately, it worked out well because it wasn't so hot. I was in long sleeves most of the summer because it wasn't really that warm. An average day was probably 62, 63 degrees, which is not, for this old Southern boy, that's kind of chilly. So I had my long sleeves on all the time, which was great because guess what? I didn't get
yeah.
mosquito bitten because of it, and I wasn't dousing myself in DEET, which is probably a good thing after 101 days.
Right.
All in all, that was it.
All right.
We put a bow on this thing, and we had one day down and we were out of there, and it was kind of sad. I really wanted to do some more stuff. I took Ryan out fishing a bunch of times, but I wanted to do more.
Yeah, I
And
was going to say, because at the end of a project like this, and with only 3 days left, probably the first day after this project was clean up and
yep,
trying to
yeah,
get back out of bed, I'm just exhausted from this thing. But it's like, it'd have been nice to have like another, maybe a week or something, just to just to chill out, and do some other things that.
to do some other things. Yeah, we did a few other things. We went fishing. We would go fishing at night, and he did get a chance to go out and do. We've already done this. I did this, but I took him out. We went to the airplane wreck, and he was sufficiently
Yeah,
impressed with that. And we did some of the hikes, and he did go on he went one day. He went out on the Glacier Bay day. It's called the day boat. He went up into Glacier Bay, and he had a good time. So he got to see some of the area, which was really good. I was very glad. Our very last day, we took a morning hike, and we hiked up to the top of where the power system is, and we got some beautiful pictures. And I didn't put them in the thing, but we got a beautiful sunrise picture over the Fairweather Mountains, and it was just beautiful. But that was our very last day, and then we came back down. We had breakfast, and we basically got on an airplane and left. So,
yeah,
uh, yeah,
yeah.
it was pretty rushed at the end. I'm not gonna lie, I
Oh
was kind
yeah,
of,
oh yeah. I
and
can.
I had airplane problems. I was like, I'm so glad. Like 4 days before, I started looking at my flights, and I'm like, why is my airplane landing in Seattle after my airplane to Atlanta is taking off? And what had happened is I flew Alaska Air from Juneau to Seattle, and I flew Delta from Seattle to Atlanta. Well, both companies had changed their flights. I originally had like a 5.5 hour layover
Mm,
in Seattle, and that was kind of, trust me, folks, if you're traveling to Alaska, make sure you build in lots of extra time, because there's weather and or other silly things like airlines changing their flights. And they notified me, but I guess I just wasn't paying attention. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't paying attention. And Delta moved their flight back like 3.5 hours, and Alaska Air Alaska Air added 2 stops into my flight, which pushed it out from a 2-hour flight to a 6-hour flight, which I wouldn't have done. And how do I know this? Because I don't take multiple stops like that. I'm going to
yeah.
take a direct.
Oh,
So anyway, it actually caused me to leave a day early because I couldn't get a flight over to Juneau in time to catch the flight to Seattle. So I ended up having to spend the night in Juneau, which was not anticipated. So I was like, oh, geez, here we go. Just it was kind of the typical flying to Alaska is something else. I'm just something else. The things don't go the way you think they're going to go. Same back. It's just logistics. It's back that whole logistics thing. But even moving people, it was
next time you can take your G5.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell some stories. We had some clients. Anyway, we had some clients. We had some customers that had some really nice places.
Yeah.
Really,
no, that's their playground up there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
that's great, man. Well, like I said, welcome back. You're back in the saddle. Getting used to Eastern time zone again. And
yeah. And boy, is it crowded around here, Johnny.
Pray tell, where's the next stop?
The next stop is Galapagos, actually.
Galapagos? What the hell you go there for?
Something about seeing Darwin and all that shit,
Oh,
but
boy.
that's coming up.
Hey, just hang out at the Walmart. You'll see Darwin.
That's different.
Different. But
anyway, yeah, we're doing that before the end of the year.
Cool.
So
well, stay tuned, folks. We'll catch up with Larry as he, going somewhere else. But no, that's a great bow. That's a great ending to the summer story up in Alaska.
If you really want to look at seasonal work, if you have any interest, send me an email, questions@handymanprosradioshow.com. I will respond.
That's a good plug, folks. If you're looking for that, and Larry will be more than happy to tell you about all the trials and tribulations of doing that. No matter what, no matter where you go, whether it's south or east, west, doesn't really matter. You're still going to run into the same, kind of things that you need to be aware of.
There's things you need to be aware of, and they're not bad. They're just different. Yeah, it's just different. If you're going to Alaska, you really do. The biggest thing I'm going to tell you is logistics. Don't think anything is easy.
Yeah, probably nothing goes right on time anyway. So
and then oh my God, I mean, it just but I loved it at the same time. You see things that you don't see anywhere else in the world. When I say big, you cannot imagine when you say big, I don't know how else to describe it. Mountains that are 15,000 feet tall, kept all year. And they're right there as long as the clouds are gone, AKA the Fairweather Range is why it's called the Fairweather Range. The size of the fish, just the rivers, the bears, the moose. I mean, I can't tell you how many moose we saw. Holy smokes. Just all of the things of just this no snakes, no ticks. It's just all this kind of cool compared to here. It's very different, no Euro spiders. Thank God for that.
Go.
Anyway, that's Alaska.
There you go. There you go.
Probably do it again. Quite honestly, I will probably do it again. It's just a question.
Larry's going to tell us all about Tahiti in the next edition.
Can I make one quick comment? If you're contemplating going to Hawaii, don't go to Tahiti instead. Go to French Polynesia.
There you go.
Much, and not much difference in cost. So
there you go. You and Captain Bly and
that's right.
Still got the descendants there. Okay,
I met one of them. So there you go.
What was his? What was the name?
Their particular name was, I can't remember, some Polynesian name, but it was Christian. This was a descendant of what is it?
Christian?
First Officer Christian or whatever it was.
Yeah.
This is Mutiny on the Bounty we're referring to. And it's a long story, but watch the movie. It's actually pretty good. There's a Mel Gibson. Is it Mel Gibson? I don't know. Anyway, there's a movie that was done not too long ago that's actually pretty accurate historically. It's pretty accurate. So
yeah, it's fascinating story about that. You guys out there, you can look it up sometime about Mutiny on the Bounty and the true story of it. It's 1780, 1790, something.
Yeah, it was like 1780s, mid 70s.
When you think about that and the trials and tribulations of what those guys went through, especially when they kicked Bly off and he had to go back on that little boat and sail 3,000 miles with those guys on that boat back to England. Holy smokes! I mean, think about that. I mean,
It's
Yeah,
even
there was no GPS, folks, right? It's 1780. It's like, what?
It's a combination of that, and it's a combination of if you go to Tahiti and you go into French Polynesia, it's basically so it's Tahiti, Bora Bora,
Yeah.
Moorea. There's a whole series of different islands that they're there, but these literally are. It's virtually paradise, and I can't even imagine. So here you are on some English ship getting whipped because you said something, and here you are looking at all these beautiful women and all this stuff.
Press
It's like,
gangs and have the whole bit. Yeah, that's
press gangs and the weather's great. And folks, if you ever want to do an interesting historical study, studying sailing ships from that era, like why anybody did that, I have no idea.
Well, remember, they went out there to get breadfruit. That stuff,
breadfruit.
And it was they had to bring it back, and it's the story, folks. We're not going to recite the whole story here, but it's an incredible true story of this thing. Just it's just really amazing. So look it up sometime and enjoy that one. So.
Yep. All right. Well,
there you go. Next time we'll dive into Dickens. So.
It's the book review.
It's our book review next time. So
yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
we can do that. Anyway, all right. With that, the spaceship's landed. We are taking one apart at the house right now as we say that. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, questions at handymanprosradioshow.com. Let us know. Johnny, take us home, baby.
All right, folks. Hey, thanks for putting up with us. Thanks for staying to the end of this, as you know, and have a great week. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.